Pick up the brand new shirt over on ProWrestlingTees.com/616entertainment. Look at this. Huh? You think you won't look good in this? Think again, wise guy. This video is also brought to you in part by the Patreon producers, without whom content like this would not be possible. In 2017, after years of creating conversational shows modeled after some of my biggest inspirations, I decided I wanted to try something different. I had watched James Rolfe's 4-part Castlevania retrospective at least 100 times, which is, to this day, my favorite piece of content he's ever produced. And with a body of work that's as incredible as James Rolfe's, that's saying something. I would always watch it thinking, man, I could do this. I could make something like this for a series of games that mean as much to me as Castlevania means to him. At the time, nobody really watched anything on this channel outside of like 10 of my friends. The conversational shows I'd been creating with said friends were fun to make. I had a blast editing and sharing them, but nobody was watching, you know? For the first time, 10 years into making content for YouTube, I was starting to get burnt out. What I was doing wasn't just failing to gain any ground. For the first time, it was failing to make me happy. And that's when I said, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna create my own retrospective. And on July 25th, 2017, I released part 1 of the History of SmackDown. I shared that link everywhere I could, man. I wanted people to see this more than anything else I'd ever put together. When part 1 pulled 700 views on the first day, I was shocked. 700 views! Are you kidding me? I was so proud, not only that the video was performing way beyond anything that had ever hit this channel, but that this was something that I really loved making. And it seemed like other people liked watching it. Nobody knew that parts 2 and 3 were already done, and I had a plan to release the installments monthly and knock off my buddy Captain McKay's idea of re-releasing it as a full movie, but that's where I was, as usual, way ahead of schedule, being a maniac with said schedule, and overdoing all of this. And that's how I still am. I'm nuts. Each installment of the History of SmackDown pulled a couple hundred views, and man, I was overjoyed. Hey DanDans, first of all, Happy Halloween. Second of all, I do have a big announcement to make today regarding the future of the History of series, and we'll get there, don't worry. But for now, let's keep walking down memory lane. This is fun. As 2018 started, I knew that I wanted to keep the creative ball rolling, and after the massive success, in air quotes, that I considered the History of SmackDown, I couldn't wait to make another one. I scrolled through my mental Rolodex wondering, what do I love to the point that I could write another 5-part documentary on? Mortal Kombat. I knew immediately. What's funny is that I almost did Mortal Kombat first, but I went with SmackDown instead, and thank God that I did. The stars aligned and my series concluded 3 days prior to Mortal Kombat 11 being announced at the Game Awards. This was huge news, obviously, and everyone ran to YouTube to catch the reveal. They typed in Mortal Kombat and holy shit, they were finding me. My History of Mortal Kombat series fucking exploded. There were a couple days where I was gaining over 1,000 subscribers per day. I gained 20,000 subscribers in 1 month. I couldn't believe it. The timing was insane. I knew right then that, once again, I had to create something new, and I had to try and make it even better than the History of Mortal Kombat. 2019's big project was the History of WCW video games, which, Jesus Christ, looking back on it, I went straight from Mortal Kombat to this one with like 0 in between. You guys know by now, obviously, I grew up a huge wrestling fan. Yeah, it wasn't always great, what can I say? I am still super proud of this series. It did even better than I thought it would, views-wise. And right after this wrapped, I premiered Triangle X Squared Circle, the wrestling game retrospective series. These would be monthly deep dive history of style videos on wrestling games, but I wasn't tying myself down to covering an entire franchise in one go. I wanted to be able to cover the TNA game and then mess around and jump to WWE Crush Hour, or Showdown Legends of Wrestling. These are some of the videos I'm most proud of out of everything I've ever made, and I'm super happy that they've gained such a foothold with so many of you. Season 2 is on the way, don't worry. And finally, after a year's worth of work on Triangle X Squared Circle, that History of bell was ringing once again. I realized that over the last 3 years, this channel had become synonymous with 2 things: Mortal Kombat and pro wrestling. But that's not all I wanted to be known for. I'm definitely not just a Mortal Kombat guy or a wrestling guy. There are so many things I love and I want to create content around. I know there are channels that are way bigger than mine that are strictly centered around like Call of Duty or whatever the hell else it is they do. But that's not what I want to be. I knew I was taking a risk by switching things up in such a major way, but honestly, I wasn't concerned. I knew that this fourth History of was going to be the best one yet. And on 6/16/2020, the History of Resident Evil premiered. It turns out that, yeah, it was a pretty big risk, and it took a little while to really get moving, but I'm proud to say that now that it's come and gone, it found its footing, and I really hope you guys loved it. Going from WWF to Mortal Kombat to WCW to Resident Evil is kind of all over the place, and that's exactly what I'm going for. I'm always going to keep evolving, and thankfully, you guys have been along for the ride, and I can't express how much that means to me. Whether you've been subscribed since 2007 when this channel was created, or you've jumped on over just the last year or so, whether you support me on Patreon or you just leave comments, it all means the world to me. So, thank you. Sincerely. Thanks for taking that little trip with me, guys. You know, it's been an insane last 3 years on this channel. With all the documentary series and the growth, everything just keeps evolving and moving forward. I actually have a couple things I can't even tell you guys about yet, but when the time comes, I think you're going to be very excited. The way 616 Entertainment keeps getting bigger is all because of you guys, and I can't thank you enough for that. And happy Halloween, by the way. I don't remember if I said that already, but if all goes according to plan, this video is going to drop on Halloween, so it's topical. But this all brings me to the future of the History of series, DanDans. You know, if you really look at it, I've done 21 episodes of the History of. That's over 10 hours of content. If you include Triangle X Squared Circle, it's up over 15 hours of content. It's a lot of work. And what I'm getting at is I've spoken about branching out, about evolution, about not falling into a rhythm of constantly covering the same things over and over. Stagnation is the death of the creative process, DanDans. And that's why this next series will be something I've never delved into on this channel. Something so new that I'm excited and a little frightened at how you guys might react. But hey, it's Halloween, right? Everyone's entitled to one good scare.